Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to revisit the April Fool's event since there's only about 2 days left of it, and since I completed it within about 4 or 5 days, I've been kind of stewing on it in my own head when it comes to what is it testing. There's always this idea around the place that April Fool's is a test for different mechanics or just a test for different stuff going on, and it wouldn't really be surprising if this set of April Fool's events was testing stuff too. There are plenty of things which are different in this April Fool's event, good old Mad Thunder, compared to others, and it's worth kind of going into and having a look at what is kind of going on. The first thing is the fact that the event is straight up set up like a good old crafting event, but it didn't really have too much of the crafting event vehicle stuff. Instead, the crafting event vehicle stuff was put into the game mode itself and not out of it. So I suppose what you could have is some kind of system where you grind out an event, then you grind out different versions of a vehicle, and then you are able to play it going forward. This could easily be the evolution of a crafting event, but it's also something that we've seen in the past and wouldn't be too surprising. If we have a look at Mad Thunder, if you actually took away the fact that, you are basically researching the decals, you're researching the decorations with the little parts, this could have easily been set up as a crafting event just for the specific vehicle itself if, they decided to do that. Luckily they didn't, so this could be a new form of the crafting event stuff and see how people kind of progress through it, see how people kind of respond to getting the different vehicles, and also which different kind of mods do they actually like on the vehicles compared to others. There is no reason why any of that couldn't be true. At the same time, you of course have the crew customization and the crew voices, which are unique in this game mode, which is really nice. So it could be some further work on customization of the crew and also customization of the voices. I've always liked the idea, especially after the last few years, when now they have decided to go full on into improving the voices, of having per battle pass or per event, you can unlock a unique kind of voice line for the event, and then you could plug it into kind of a wheel of things that you could bring along to a battle. It's something that Dota did really well and has done since its launch, or at least Dota 2, where they have different announcers and you can hear them going around the place, and also at the same time just having a different feel to stuff, whether it's actually looking at the map itself being completely different or the announcer being completely different, tailoring it to your experience. And with more crew voice lines or more ways to be able to pick voice lines, that would be fantastic. For me personally, for Mad Thunder, the voice lines that I hope survive are the ones about the D point. I think they're so good. The D point was in our hearts all along, or may have been in our hearts all along. Is just a fantastic line to be able to have. Then also, you have, of course, the modification changes in the battle, or different configs of weapons. I'm pretty sure this is what they're actually making sure works, because one of the problems with War Thunder is the fact that you have a lot of vehicles that are in the game which have modifications to change how they play. Whether it's like the Japanese planes, like the Kicker, where you have a mod which gives you two 30mm instead of one, same with stuff like the Key 43, or whether it's like the Ostketten or the Winterketten on the German tanks, where they have wider tracks which are designed for more adverse conditions, but sometimes you lose a bunch of spaced armor for it. Or whether it's stuff like the VFW, or even the Zastora, where you can either decide to up the sides of it or down the sides of it, depending if you want the gun to move more or if you want more protection. There's all these little things, or even stuff, I suppose, like shovels, for example, where certain shovels on certain maps are much better than other areas. But the fact is, you can't actually change these in the battle itself. So you cannot be able to adapt your vehicle to the surroundings. There are plenty of maps, especially with stuff like Winterketten and Ostketten, and also the shovels, where I would actually prefer to be able to either have them or not have them. If I get on, for example, Stalingrad, having something like the Winterketten, so you have that extra grip to move around, is a good idea. But if you get on something like, I don't know, Hurtgen, it's kind of useless and just slows you down a little bit. So it would be nice to be able to pick in the battle itself before you spawn this different version of the vehicle. And I'm pretty sure that's, what the April Fool's event is actually kind of testing, making sure that works, since it is quite a different system compared to what we've seen before. You will also have the fact that you have, all these different types of vehicles, which are all based on the same vehicle, and also with the new battle pass coming in, the USS Flagstaff is a vehicle which could easily have access to this mechanic, where it has access to a Sheridan turret, or it has access to a 40mm on the front of it. That means that hopefully we can have two versions of the Flagstaff which you can spawn in a battle instead of having to pick through modifications, and that would be really awesome. The next one is the fact of resource collection. Now, this could be looked at in just the general stuff, the vehicle parts, the scrap metal, the electronics, or it could be looked into the rage tokens. Both of these ideas are actually really cool and a lot better than the previous crafting system. One of the problems with the old way that the crafting systems worked is it was either time-based, so people cheesed it in many game modes, going in bombers and just hitting something to get the activity and then disappearing into space, or if you based it on score, people would just play the meta stuff over and over again, and it became a pretty boring situation to go around, especially since you needed 75,000 mission score a day, which is crazy to get half of the vehicles. Well, what if you made it so around maps you have random spawns of certain pieces or parts, and then when you destroy vehicles you get more of those parts, so therefore you could do it a little bit quicker. Maybe every time you cap a zone you get a random amount of scrap metal, every time you win a battle you get a random amount of electronics, and when you destroy a vehicle you get a random amount of vehicle parts, and this means that you can put these things together in a crafting event scenario. Now, that doesn't mean they should bring crafting events back. I think crafting events in general are very negative, but we have talked about a system previously which could easily be linked to the Battle Pass and a blueprint system, where you put a blueprint of a vehicle in the game and you need a way to be able to collect those specific parts to put together the vehicle. Now, you could easily do it in the way that I just described, since, it wouldn't be as time-gated and therefore a little bit more relaxed. You could also do it in the form of challenges and also achievements. Once you complete those, you get the parts and then you get to put the vehicle together. You could do all of those things. You also had the Rage Token collection thing. I thought this one was actually kind of cool, and also could easily be something which could promote certain types of gameplay, and also could be used in dailies and specials. So if you don't know how rage tokens work, basically if you destroy a target, it gives you a rage token. But also, if you go near that target, you pick up the rage tokens that target had. So let's say a vehicle was able to get 2 or 3 rage tokens, you could go near it and you could pick those up along with the rage token that you got from destroying the vehicle. So instead of just getting 1 rage token, you can end up with 2, 3 or 4 or 5 at a time, which I think was pretty cool. It basically meant that you had a King of the Hill scenario, or you had a I can't remember what the game mode was called, but kind of Golden Soldier or Alpha Soldier scenario, where one person, if you destroy them, you get all the points, and everybody else is either trying to protect them or trying to destroy them, depending on what the game mode is. And it was pretty cool, and not something we've ever really seen in War Thunder. You don't really have that idea of a high-value target to kind of go after. I suppose in certain scenarios, like if you're trying to destroy a nuke bomber, or if you're trying to destroy stuff like that, but generally what you're looking for is something which is just, mano y mano, instead of kind of going after the golden boy. And I think the rage token, if they really wanted to do it and put it into normal battles, you could easily do it where people could collect these things and then once again, as a form of currency, use it to get some older vehicles, or use it to get some specific vehicles, maybe even just hangar decorations, or maybe even stuff like the echidna, the porcupine, the boar, and also the armadillo, and of course the rhino. All of these vehicles could be hangar decorations, or they could be ones that you bring into custom battles, just like a lot of the other April Fool's vehicles, and this could be a way of kind of grinding them out in standard battles. Or at least maybe not rage tokens, but whatever tokens you want to call it, golden tokens or whatever. I think the system itself is actually pretty cool, and the overall way of collecting the resources was way more interesting than we've seen in the past in War Thunder. I'm hoping that they take some of these ideas and add them to future mechanics for being able to grind out vehicles. I like the fact that nowadays in War Thunder you don't just have the standard grind, you also have the squadron grind, and also the battle pass stuff and a few other things all on top of each other, because it basically means that you can do multiple things at the same time instead of just focusing on one. And the more times that we can do things at the same time means the more vehicles that you can research at the same time, and means you get access to more stuff all at the same time instead of just being stuck with one vehicle overall. So let me know what you thought of the April Fool's event. I'm kind of interested to see some opinions on it. And also, what do you think they're testing? Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Tullio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pieman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Alan Hacker, Ozzy Panzer, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Cam Arslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.